very risky to go outside. You know what I'm saying? We have people who have not able to get or not able to get home shelter with us right now. You know what I'm saying? Said Sami 75 who lives in north the suburb of Khartoum or whatever, and described thick plumes of smoke hanging over the capital from explosion. You know what I'm saying? As we see, you know what I'm saying? But we see this needs to stop in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? Because it's only going to lead to more and more death. And this needs to be worked out. You know what I'm saying? Sudan should not be going under no type of corruption like that right now. And you know what I'm saying? And it seems like every time we have an African leader who is full of shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, we see the full of shit, even on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Even on the streets. Yeah, we see a lot of stupid shit going on, even on the streets. You know what I mean? We see a lot of shit going on the streets. You know what I mean? Even right here, we see here where, um, you know what I'm saying? We see another one coming in here. The FBI orders they release documents about Bureau response to NSBA letter. You know what I'm saying? And they should do that. You know what I'm saying? This is coming in by Jeremiah Poof, 10 hours ago, Eastern Standard Time. You know what I'm saying? Washington Examiner. But we see the FBI must comply with the Freedom of Information Act, requesting to seek records about the Bureau's response to the 2021 letter from the National School Board Association that labeled parents, protesters domestic terrorists. The federal judge in the Washington, D.C. ruled in a four-page order. U.S. District Judge looked like Trevor McFadden, you know what I'm saying, said last week that the Department of Justice had dragged its feet in responding to a FICO or whatever, or FOIA, or FOIA, FICO or whatever, request field request files by the government watchdog group protest watchdog group protect the public's trust and sort of records from the FBI and other DOJ, you know what I'm saying, entities about their response to a September 2021 letter from the NSBA, you know what I'm saying, the NSBA that requested Creepy Joe Biden administration and the DOJ investigate protests and threats against the school board members who are working right with the demon Democrats to do bullshit and bring bullshit into the school. This is why this is occurring. This ain't have nothing to do with the parents being terrorists. Yes, you did write the letter to request they being terrorists because you were doing terroristic shit in the school, on the school board as a school board worker. You know what I'm saying? You need to be fired. You know what I'm saying? And I would have fired every single one of them. I would have had no chance from the time they even wrote a letter saying anything about demon parents. Domestic terrorism means that you are doing something politically based on the affiliation and the ruling of the demon Democrats who are sending down these laws to the schools for you to do garbage to the people. And then our schools even erupt, such as what we saw in the streets and driven up to the Capitol Hill when they did that trickery bullshit, if you ask me. In the ruling, McFadden, Faden, you know, saying denied two motions from the FBI that sought to dismiss the case or have it decided in their favor. The judge said the federal law enforcement agency had failed to prove the how you say that word? FICO or whatever. Okay? FICO or whatever request by protect the public's trust in the unreasonable protect the public's trust was unreasonable and offered scant evidence for summary judgment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're gonna do all kinds of bullshit because they were working right along with Creep Joe Biden and the rest of them crazy so-called people in the deep state and so on and so on. Anytime somebody gonna keep telling Trump that, you know what I'm saying, if he don't lead the country, they're gonna kill him anyway, like they did John F. Kennedy, like they did Martin Luther King, like they did Malcolm X, like they did Marcus, but they drove Marcus Garvey out of New York and so forth and continue to do the same thing. And then you replace it with straight bullshit. You know, say obviously the PPT is happy with the court's ruling. Protect the People's Trust Director Michael Chamberlain, you know what I'm saying, told the Washington Examiner, this is certainly not one of FBI's finest moments. It never did one fine moment that they really ever showed us. You know what I'm saying? This is there is evidence the FBI participated in targeting parents who protested to protect their children. Yeah, political show. You know what I'm saying? And their efforts to dismiss the case could be an attempt to conceal the intent of their role in it. Yet again, the FBI finds itself at the center of the Joe Biden administration efforts to weaponize the government against American people. Yeah, they sure did. And that's a damn shame. And they need to be fired. All these people that are doing this shit need to be fired. But we see Google CEO, you know, Sundar Pichai or whatever, warned society to brace for impact of AI acceleration, said it's not for a company to decide. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and we can brace that you about to fuck up the people that enslaved them. You know what I'm saying? Because our CEO race probably was the first slave master any damn way. You know what I'm saying? Get out of my face. Y'all trying to enslave the United States population and the population probably across the world. But we see Senate, we just want to come about say Senate Johnson sounds the alarm on jaw-dropping Biden family's bank records revealed in more ways than one. Yeah, go to political charge, but it needs to be revealed no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Since everybody doing all this revealing, that's revealed by Fox News staff one day ago. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. In more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? But we see Wisconsin, you know, Ron Johnson is sounding the alarm bell over Creep Joe Biden's family revealing bank records, you know what I'm saying, arguing that the media completely ignored his 2020 report on the gritting on the gritting family. You know what I'm saying? But we see Mr. Ron Johnson, in his own words, as we should say, you know what I'm saying, let's face it, this is Mr. Ron Johnson's word. He's saying, let's face it, Senator Grassley and a pretty well laid Senator Grassley and I pretty well laid out the case against, you know what I'm saying, the gritting Biden creepy family back in September of 2020 before the election. Our report was completely ignored. Imagine that. Imagine that, completely ignored. Imagine that. So how much power do these demon democratic deep state Luciferian Baphomet sucking evil anti all that bullshit garbage afford do they have in our government? To where they would completely ignore a report of the Griffin family, but you were all over Donald J. Trump behind. And none of the stuff that you said seems to have found out to his side, but it was Russian collusion, blah 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 blah. You jumped up a war in Ukraine, so that was a collusion over there in Russia in that area, in the Russian and all that bullshit. But you blame Trump for every single thing under the sun. He's saying it went completely ignored by the media, just as they ignored the Hunter Creepy Joe Biden laptop story. And that's another thing that they do. They're covering up the evidence and then hoping that time will pass it away, such as it did when brainwashing people into their spiritual Bible. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over generation and time. Now I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Ignore the whole laptop story. Advocates for the left themselves. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Let's take that back again. He's saying our report was completely ignored by the media, just as they ignored the Hunter Creepy Biden laptop because they're advocates for the left themselves. They advocate for the left themselves. And so what we're finding out now is just new pieces of evidence of the grits that the Creepy Joe Biden family has with involved Creepy Joe Biden family have been involved with the bank records that basically confirms what the Treasury records show from the show from Grassley's and my report. I think what recently report on Fox is trying to get into the sovereign wealth fund of like Ireland, in the sovereign wealth funds of like Ireland and more of these other countries. You know, our report shows something like a dozen different countries that Hunter Creepy ass Biden, you know what I'm saying, was again peddling the family's name, trying to sell influence. But I think they they're I think they're trying I think they're trying to tap into sovereign wealth funds. I think is pretty revealing. You know what I'm saying? Why would the government, who owns their own sovereign wealth would funds, why would they want to pay into Creep Joe Biden's uh, coffers and the creepy Biden family grid? You know what I'm saying? Well, it's to gain influence in a demon democratic one world global order bullshit. It's who knows exactly how it might benefit them, but the level of compromise of this creepy ass president, I think, is just jaw dropping and maybe even more jaw dropping if jaw dropping is might even be more jaw dropping is how the media accepts for a few outlets like Fox News to completely ignore it. I guess that is his words, not mine, and it's beautifully well said in more ways than one. We see left-wing groups attempting to block congressional oversight of Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? May violate laws, conservative or ones. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, they're gonna violate plenty of laws. You know what I'm saying? To block that shit out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Violate laws, conservative or ones. You know what I'm saying? We see the demon democratic nutcase idiots, Operative David Burrock and dark money groups have uh, uh, promised maximum pushback against Congress oversight of the Joe Biden's family. Imagine that. Imagine that. By Lucas on Fox News and friends, I see. You know what I'm saying? I see. You know? But we see here, after Republicans recaptured the House in November, the Congressional Integrity Project, backed by an arm of liberal dark money founders, Umbrella Umbrella Advisor, and Facts First USA, ran by demon Democratic operatives, David Burrock, or whatever his name, have blasted the GOP House members, you know what I'm saying, with his punk fucking, with his idiot ass. You know what I'm saying? Members that will be leading the oversight matters, Chief House Oversight and Accountability Chairman James Comer of Kentucky, and House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan of Ohio. In October, memos from Burrock, called for direct attacks, you know what I'm saying, and in environment of backlash and maximum pushback, politically speaking, after Republican lawmakers. Publicly speaking, after Republican lawmakers. You know what I'm saying? America First Legal warns this could lead to the obstruction of congressional hearing, but that's what they want to do because they're scared to face the facts and to face the truth of the garbage that they did. They know for well what they did, you know what I'm saying, but they don't want it exposed to the point where the world see the garbage that they have done to our country using the elected political power to fuck us over. And that's point blank range. You know what I'm saying? She's saying it with obstruction of congressional hearing, harassing members of Congress, and, you know what I'm saying, intimidating both witnesses and whistleblowers. You know what I'm saying? Resentment of liberal protesters would follow, and taunting Republican senators during the Supreme Court confirmation hearing for Brett Kavanaugh in 2018. Oh no. Murdoch plans to simplistically diversive, you know what I'm saying, says Reed D. Rubenstein, Director of Investigation for American First Legal Foundation, the AFL, in a March 2016 letter, you know what I'm saying, to the House Sergeant at Arms, William McFarlane. But in 2018, for example, similar tactics were employed against congressional staffs and members to influence the obstruct and the immediate Congress hearing, reading Brett Kavanaugh, therefore. You know what I'm saying? Regarding Brett Kavanaugh, therefore. You know what I'm saying? This is ample reason to take seriously the premise made by Mr. Murdoch and Dark Money affiliates of direct attacks, backlash, and coordinated maximum pushback against members of staff and witnesses. You know what I'm saying? The ELF letter chiefly focused on words of Murdoch, the leader of Fact First USA, Fact First, you're an idiot in USA, but the top of the letter says, you know what I'm saying, subject matters is about potential violations by both Fact First USA, Fact First, USA, and the Congressional Integrity Project of 18 USC. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so on. You'll see, 1505, you know what I'm saying, of the Penal Code, which is in the United States Code as destruction of proceedings before the department, agency, and committee. You know what I'm saying? We hear the congressional oversight, Mr. Murdoch, and his dark money network may also be be appropriate to expose the breathed or Reddit of and funding source for the plan's interference, obstruction, you know what I'm saying, or disruption of the House oversight activities. You know what I'm saying? Rubenstein, letter continues. Mhm. But as the sergeant at arms, you are the power. You are the power to make arrests and enforce the law of the United States within the graphical area containing all House members, their staff, and committee hearing rooms. The letter adds, federal law grants you the same law enforcement authority as the members of the Capitol Police. Intimidation of congressional witnesses, whistleblowers, obstructing official congressional investigations, or otherwise interfering with congressional obligations and the rights are all crimes within your purview. You know what I'm saying? So they need to do something, you know what I'm saying? But we see that the fact check USA refers Fox Digital to its own March 17 letter to McFarland, the House Senate at arms, and note it is entirely it's an entirely separate entity from the Congressional Integrity Project. You know what I'm saying? As we see it more ways than one, you know what I mean?